Okay, so I've got the Green Bay Packers depth chart up here and just roster as a whole. So I'll just go through it, kind of give my thoughts on each position group and kind of just the players they have. So the receiver position for the Packers, that's the first position showing up here. Of course, they got one of the best receivers in the league. Definite top 5 receiver. Could be in the argument for the overall best receiver. Devontae Adams, amazing route runner, just good all-around receiver, wins off the line straight away. Just a very reliable target who's just good every single year, and I think he can continue as that, so I really like that. Alan Lazard, not amazing upside receiver in Alan Lazard. Like, he's a decent player. He can definitely start at number 2. I probably wouldn't on any other team with a that drafts better than the freaking Packers do, then he probably wouldn't. He'd probably be more of a 4 or 3 receiver. But of course, at Packers, he's probably going to start opposite Devontae Adams if he stays healthy. And then Amari Rogers, I think he could definitely start in the slot straight away. So I do like that. I think he could be a very decent slot receiver in the league. Like, you've seen a lot of comparisons of him and Randall Cobb. It's a pretty good comp. And Amari Rogers, he's a very decent player. So I think he could definitely start in the slot straight away. And that was a really good draft pick that I liked. And then, I mean, for the backups, Equinemius St. Brown, not an amazing player, just kind of a deep threat possession receiver. Not that amazing of a player. Don't think he's really going to be anything special. Valdez Scantling's a good deep threat. That's kind of it. He will have some splash plays, but will also drop the ball. But you can't get better at that, so it's fine. I mean, somebody who just seems all the way down here, Devin Funchess, could possibly start number 2, I think. I think that's a very good possibility. If he stays healthy, I think Devin Funchess could be a solid number 2 receiver. Is not doesn't have good speed, pretty much. That's it. Just a good jump ball receiver, decent route runner also, just bigger type of receiver. Could be a good comp to Devontae Adams. I think he could be a better player than Alan Lazard, straight away. So maybe look out for Devin Funchess to get that other spot. And they don't really got any other exciting players like Jawan Winfrey, kind of a special teamer, deep threat returner type of player. So that's the receiver position. And then tackle, David Bakhtiari, an amazing tackle. I mean, he might not be ready to start straight away. I think that's what the consent thing that everybody's kind of talking about is that he won't be able to start right away, but when he is starting, one of the best tackles in the league, hasn't been that injury prone. So that injury last year is nothing really to worry about that much, I think. Just a really good tackle. And then, I mean, to back him up, Josiah Nigerman, not an amazing backup. They don't really got that. I mean, Cole Van Laning, who they have listed at guard, played tackle in college. He could play guard. I think probably a backup to David Bakhtiari and John Runnan. He's not an amazing player. That's why he was drafted in the 7th round. He kind of just didn't really show a lot of progression when he was at Wisconsin. Just kind of was an average player. And, I mean, for the other guard, they got listed as John Runyon. Could definitely be a possibility. I just got to go through it because I honestly can't remember who else they got. I mean, Josh Myers could probably start at center straight away for them. They did draft him in the 2nd round, so that's probably what's going to happen. Maybe Elton Jenkins playing guard and John Runyon's place, because John Runyon's not an amazing player. But he could also start for Lucas Patrick. I mean, he probably actually does start there, so that'd probably be their top 5. And, I mean, the other players, Jesus. Royce Newman, I mean, as a backup, it's fine. I didn't think they should have drafted him that early. I just didn't think he's a good player, personally. And he can't really be a starter in the league, I don't think. He's just not really a good tackle. But Billy Turner is pretty decent. He's pretty versatile also a young player. So I could see him starting at right tackle. And then tight end, Mercedes Lewis, still a good blocker, one of the best blockers in the league. He's a very old player, probably his last year, to be honest. Or could play more. I mean, he's managed to stay pretty healthy to this point, so that's a definite possibility. He's still a solid, reliable player. They also got Robert Tunyon, who had a kind of breakout year last year. So I think he could definitely repeat that this year. Just have to see. He's a good receiving option. So I like that. Josiah Nigerman, who they drafted in the freaking third round last year, what a stupid pick. Kind of a H-back. Plays like fullback slash tight end, kind of more of a fullback. That's where he'll basically play. I mean, they have him listed there also at the fullback position. Just isn't really an amazing player. Just a good blocking tight end. Nothing else really. Jeez, I hate this. Jay Sternberger's a pretty decent backup tight end, so that's alright. Dominic Daphne got some playing time last year and looked decent, so the tight end group's looking pretty good. Slash fullback, side Guara. And then quarterback, of course, the big question, Amari Rogers. We'll see if he comes back. I mean, it's kind of starting to look like he won't, but he definitely could. He's in like freaking Hawaii or something, just having a fun time. Just didn't show up to OTAs or anything. So we don't know what's going to happen. Will he retire? Will he not? But if he is on the team, then they're definitely going to be in playoff contention, I think. They just haven't really helped him out that much. They get Amari Rogers, but it's just the other stuff that's kind of petty stuff that the Packers don't want to like care about him. And then they do have Jordan Love, who, if Aaron Rodgers isn't there, probably going to be the starter. It's probably not going to be Blake Bortles, who just isn't a really good player. Same with Kurt Benkert. Just kind of Kirk Benkert. You literally say it backwards. Yeah, they're just backups. That Kurt Benkert could definitely get cut or just be a practice squad player. Blake Bortles probably make the roster as a reliable backup that can come and play. But Jordan Love, yeah, we'll kind of see what he has. He's got really good traits. Like, he's got an amazing arm and everything. His accuracy wasn't amazing. He threw a lot of interceptions in college. I think he has a good developmental quarterback. I just didn't like where they drafted him last year. And then running back, Aaron Jones, of course, very good running back. They shouldn't have paid him all that money. If they were going to pay somebody money, they should have paid their all-pro center, Corey Linsley, when you've drafted a running back last year in A.J. Dillon. But, he's still a good running back, Aaron Jones, but the running back position just not really a viable position. But they have A.J. Dillon to probably take over that Jamal Williams role in that second running back position. I think he could be a starter in the league. That's why I also didn't really like Aaron Jones. You could have had Jamal Williams and A.J. Dillon, which probably I would have liked more, to be honest, because paying a running back a ton of money like that is not the best thing to do, even if they are a good player. And then to back them up, Patrick Taylor, kind of special teamer, receiving back. Same with Dexter Williams. I do like Kylan Hill as a draft pick. I think that was a very good pick for them. I think he could be maybe not like a high-end starter, probably more of a good number 2. I think that's a very good thing for him, being a number 2 running back. So I would like him there, possibly. That's what just makes the re-signing of Aaron Jones even more stupid. So annoying. But let's just get onto the defense. Dean Lowry starting at the end. He kind of, I mean, he's not really a pass rusher. He's more of a defensive tackle. He'd probably start. I mean, he plays a significant amount of time and will probably continue like that. More of that rotational defensive tackle / kind of strong defensive end at points. So it's all right there. The backups, they don't really got anything there. Carlo Kemp, they picked up on draft free agent. That could be a sneaky player. And then for defensive tackle, Kenny Clark, one of the best defensive tackles in the league. So I do like that. Very good player. Really, they're going to have to pay him soon. So, I mean, he's very good. And then to Darrell Slayton, he'll improve your run defense. He's just a massive player. So I did like that to shore up that defensive line and really get a good run stopper. So I thought that was a really good draft pick. Maybe a bit of a reach, but when you want to try and stop the run better than you did last year, which was just ferocious, then I think Darrell Slayton can eat up a ton of blocks. He's a massive player. Tyler Lancaster also is an alright player. Doesn't really offer you that much. He's just average. I mean, not amazing stopping the run or pass rusher. So you probably don't want him as a starter. On other teams, he probably wouldn't. So it's not an amazing player opposite of Kenny Clark. So a lot of tension will have to be on Kenny Clark. And then, I mean, the other players they really got, Kingsley Kiki's a pretty decent backup, actually. I think he could get some good playing time. He's a good player. So I like that. pretty sneaky player also, just kind of doesn't really get talked about. The other pass rushers, Darius Smith, of course, still a really good pass rusher, 2 really productive years. So that's very good. You like him there. And then the other pass rushers, Rashawn Gary actually showed some really good play last year when he got a chance. So I think he could definitely start opposite of Zadarius Smith at that other pass rush spot. But I mean, it'll probably rotate in with Preston Smith, who had a bit of a down year, but didn't really get the amount of snaps that he did also. Even when he was getting the snaps, he didn't look amazing. So maybe you roll more with Rashawn Gary and the youth and kind of see if you have a high-end starter. That's probably what they will do. And then, I mean, going on to the actual linebacker position, they got some young talent. Kyrus Barnes last year showed some decent play. Same with Kamal Martin. Like, they're 2 young players that showed some promising play. The only thing is they don't really got a true number 1 linebacker. They kind of just got these young players that could turn into something. I think it could be a pretty weak tight end group, though, because they don't really got a veteran in there. Ty Summers, not really an amazing starter. I think Isaiah McDuffie would probably be a really good special teamer straight away. I do see him making the roster. I did quite like him out of Boston College. He was a pretty sneaky prospect, pretty good pick actually. Probably one of their best picks because they've kind of had an underwhelming draft. So Isaiah McDuffie, that's a pretty good pick. Probably not going to be a really good starter. He's a bit undersized. But he'll give you an extra edge on your special teams. And then the secondary, Jair Alexander at the cornerback. One of the best cornerbacks in the league, so that definitely works. Very good player. Kind of threw away those size concerns that people had just because he's that good of a corner, so it doesn't really matter. Just lockdown corner. And then the other cornerback positions, not looking as good. Kevin King, he'll probably start at the other cornerback position. Could definitely be Eric Stokes, though, who they drafted in the first round. I think you should roll with Eric Stokes, but maybe you want to, roll with the more veteran player, because starting corner straight away is a bit nasty just because it's a very hard position to transition to, and he wasn't really a first-round prospect anyway. So we'll just kind of see. I think Eric Stokes should start because he's got really good athletic traits that can kind of disregard those other concerns that he has because he's a really good athlete. And they got Chanda Sullivan also, who's just not an amazing player. Kind of played more in the slot, wasn't very good at it. They have some players. I think Josh Jackson could get some playing time. I think he could be a starter for them. Some people really liked him coming out of college, so I think Josh Jackson possibly take that third cornerback role. Could play in the slot. I mean, I think he'd be better than Chanda Sullivan, so you just kind of get anybody in there. Eric Stokes could also play in the slot, but he's more of an outside receiver. They got versatile players, even Jair Alexander, but you probably just want Jair Alexander against that number 1 cornerback. I mean, the other corners, Shamon Jean-Charles, a pretty decent player who they drafted from App State. So that's pretty decent. He could be our future starting slot corner. He doesn't really fit the profile to be an outside corner, and that's probably not what he will take. So, I mean, as an eventual replacement in the slot, I think he could be that. Probably not straight away going to be a starter, but for the future, I think it's a good draft pick. And the safety position now, Adrian Atmos, Darnell Savage, a really good safety pairing. They're 2 very solid players. Darnell Savage, very good young player. Also got a sick surname, man. Your next surname Savage, you better be good. And Adrian Amos, also a good veteran safety. To back them up, Will Redmond's not a horrible backup. So I like that. I mean, the only other notable player really for the backup, Christian Uphoff, who they drafted. No, I think he was actually undrafted. Undrafted, I'm pretty sure, yeah. It might have been a super late round pick, but I think he was undrafted, yeah. I think it was. Yeah, Illinois State. Yeah, free agency, okay. But he's actually a pretty decent player. For undrafted prospect, I think it's a good safety to pick up. I think he could make the roster, so that's a player to look out for, Packers fans. Packers. And then special teams, J.K. What? J.K. Scott just kind of bombs the ball. That's it. He's all right. He wasn't amazing last year. Kind of gave up those two big punts last year that everybody kind of thought was funny because he didn't really try to tackle the dude. Just kind of got destroyed. But Mason Crosby's a really good kicker, so that's fine. Veteran, they got some players like to back them up, so maybe JJ Molson, eventual replacement. Nobody knows who any of these guys are. Like, who are you? A rookie? Are you UCLA? That's so cool, dude. I hope you turn out to be amazing. And then punt returner, Josh Jackson and Malik Taylor. Probably not. I mean, Amari Rogers could start kick return. Mardos Valdes-Scantling played that sometimes. Jawan Winfrey actually could be like kick returner and punt returner. He's a pretty decent player at that. Running back, I mean, Taylor Patrick, probably more of that type of player. They got some other players. I doubt would be Josh Jackson and Malik Taylor. They are good athletes, but maybe you see Eric Stokes, if he doesn't start at corner, be a punt returner, kick returner, because he's a really good athlete, but probably not, to be honest. So that's kind of it for the Packers. Yeah, I think they could be. If it kind of depends on Aaron Rodgers. If Aaron Rodgers isn't there, I don't think they're an amazing team. If Aaron Rodgers is there, I think they're a playoff team. So it's a weird built team. Like, they got some players, and then they also got some holes. So we'll just have to see what happens, and that's kind of it. So I hope you enjoyed, and bye.